Hi, Grandma. All right, I'm going to cut that part. Um, Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Hahn, and for my Kupuna Stories video, I decided to interview my grandma, Mary Helen. My grandma is of Mexican descent and born in the United States, and her parents are from Mexico. She also speaks fluent Spanish. I have such amazing memories cooking with my grandma growing up. She taught me the basics of cooking and baking, and she was very gracious to let me dirty her kitchen whenever I found a new recipe I wanted to try. One of the fondest memories I have in the kitchen is when my grandmother makes homemade tamales during the holiday season. A big reason why I love Christmas so much is because I get to enjoy a variety of these delicious tamales, and I also get to spend time with her and the rest of my family. These tamales bring joy and comfort to everyone that has eaten them. I cannot wait for my grandma to share her tamale story with all of you guys. Grandma, could you please state your name and where you are from?
My name is Mary Helen Zuniga, and I am from Orange County, California.
So we know that tamales are a specialty of yours. Could you explain how you first started making tamales?
I started making tamales back in 1972. It was a friend that taught me how, and she just verbally told me what to do, and then I just took the ball and ran. And I had a few mistakes, but they weren't bad ones. And every year I tried to perfect it a little more. So I think at this time I'm pretty good at making tamales after all these years.
And what culture do these tamales originate from?
Well, I would say they're from Mexico.
From Mexico. And how do you traditionally prepare these tamales?
Well, there are many steps to it, and perhaps maybe that's why some people only do it once a year because it's not one, two, three, and they're done. There are many steps to it, and preparing your masa is one of them, and that's just out of flour, which is called masarina, and you add lard to it, you add chicken broth and other things to that, and you mix all that up, and then you have to cook the meat a certain way, and your choice of meat is your choice. It could be beef or pork. We choose pork because it's a little more fatty and tastier. And when the meat is done, then we just shred it apart. Then you have to make your chili, and that's another step. And the chili are their dry pods, and I use New Mexico chili with what another chili they call a guajillo, but just a little bit of that because my family likes the tamales very spicy. So the New Mexico chili is the spiciest. So you have to soak the tamales and soften them, and you clean them and everything, and then you blend them and you strain them, and until it's a saucy type of chili that you make, and then you just mix it with your meat if you wish to do it. Many people do it a different way. They put the chili on the masa and then they put the meat in there, but I like to mix it all together. Um, you have to soak your hojas, which are the corn husks, and you soak for about a half hour, and you make sure that they're nice and dry when you squeeze all the water on them, that they're nice and dry. And then that's where you spread the prepared masa onto that. And after you spread it, it's usually through half of the hoja, as we call it. And then you put your meat in there, and I'm very generous with meat. I'm not stingy. You have to be generous with the meat, otherwise your tamales taste like just masa, and that's not what you want. So then you put in a couple of olives if you wish, and then you just fold one side over and the other side over, and then what kind of tails at the end, you flip it up and then just stack them up, and then you put them in a pot, a large pot, and you cook them for about an hour, maybe a little over an hour. You don't want to stack them too tight together because then it takes too long to cook. But and the tamales are done at Christmas time, usually at the holiday, because of all the steps that you have to go through. But I find nowadays that people are making tamales any time of the year, and they start with a small amount. You know, they don't go for the big amount. And I think this is what I'm going to do this year. I'm just going to go for the small amount first.
I see.
You know,
Wow.
and but and that's basically what we do. And I love making the tamales. I call my sister, and um, she comes over, and my granddaughter, she comes over and she helps me. So it's like a little party, you know. We have a little bit of wine or coffee or whatever and sweets, and then once the first batch is made, then we eat them.
Amazing.
Yeah. Then after that, we just whatever we make, I stack them in a dozen in each a bag, a Ziploc bag, and I freeze them uncooked, and they stay frozen in the freezer until I'm ready to take them out, and then I take them out of the freezer and cook them whenever we want. And
Perfect.
that's my story.
Oh, awesome, Grandma. Well, thank you for sharing that. So nowadays you only want to make pork, but when I was younger, you had a couple of different ones that you
Yes.
used to make. I remember
Yes.
the sweet one was one of my favorites. It was really
Right.
yummy. And what was in that one again?
The sweet one is the mazzarina, but instead of using the regular water, you use um, uh, uh, it's like a brown sugar, only it's a Mexican. It's very hard, and it's called piloncillo, and you cook that down in a little bit of water, and then it turns into a syrup. And then you mix that with your masa, and that's what makes it sweet. And you put raisins in it, nuts in it, pineapple in it. You can do whatever you want with that, but you have to use that sweetener to get it. You can't use the regular masa.
Yeah, it
Um,
gives it a nice taste, a nice sweet little
yes,
taste to it.
right, right. And
Awesome.
you can make green chili tamales too. Um, cheese, chili and cheese, green chili and cheese, or just green chili. You can do whatever you want. You could put corn in them. Nowadays, I found that people put different things and mix vegetables in them, and anything you can do. It could go veggie if you want to, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you really it would be authentic enough to say veggie because your masa has to be cooked with lard.
Yeah.
So if anybody can do that, that'd be great for the vegetarians.
Alrighty, Grandma. Well, thank you so much for your time again, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. And I love you. I love you. Love you mucho.
Love you too. Bye bye.